Okay. Well, welcome everybody. It's good to see you. Today, I want to talk about something that might seem to be a misnomer. It might seem to be strange. It might seem to be whatever it is to you. It doesn't matter. And just before we start, remember everyone, and if you're new, nothing is right and nothing is wrong. I am not here to give you advice. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to change you. I'm not here to change you. I'm here to open up a conversation and that you have a choice of what you want to do with that conversation. That is all. That is all. And so that's what we're doing. So there's nothing right and there's nothing wrong. We're looking at how things are. We're looking at your role and how things are, what you decide in your life. If you have a choice or not, there's a lot to be said about if there is free will or not, but we're not going to talk about that today. But today's topic is going in is just another way of going without. And when I don't see without, I mean outer. Inner is really outer. So what am I talking about? What is this about? So, as many of you here know, that when we're on a spiritual journey, on a spiritual path, most of the time, we're asked to go inside instead of going outside, right? So you're asked to be like, stop looking for your salvation outside of yourself. Stop looking for it in a relationship. Stop looking for it in money. Stop looking for it in how you look. Stop looking for it in a career. Stop looking for your salvation in anything that's outside of yourself. And the body is outside yourself, right? Is outside. So the more plastic surgery you get, nothing is wrong with plastic surgery, is not going to make you happier. And we know that. But there's nothing wrong with plastic surgery. There's people that are incredibly self-actualized that get plastic surgery. There's nothing wrong with that at all, at all. And if you feel like there is something wrong with it, I would suggest that you look to yourself about why you are judging that. But so it's it. Outside, outside, outside. When we start this spiritual journey, where it said, meditate, go inside, the answers are within. The answers are within. The answers are within. There's nothing wrong with that. So you're asked to start meditating. You're asked to start to pull your attention away from getting your salvation or your peace from anything outside. And instead, look inside, because the answers are where? The answers are within. Right? And that is a rash generalization in itself, because as almost all of you would know, is that there are many times that you get an answer outside. You do get answers outside. Okay? So there's nothing wrong with meditating. There's nothing wrong with getting in touch with silence. There's nothing wrong with that. What I want to present to you today is the idea that the idea that the idea of looking for something other than what is happening is the problem. Looking for the answer anywhere other than what is the problem, even though there are no problems. And that comes back to what we always say here, what the Course in Miracles would say, your problem is you think you have a problem. And the Course in Miracles would also say that you have a perception issue, right? So everything is about perception. You're either in or you're out. You're either good or you're bad. You're either spiritual, you're not spiritual. You're awakened, you're unawakened. You're stupid or you're smart, right? That's the problem. That's the problem. But there is no problem, because you've already decided there's a problem. So when you've decided there's a problem, you go looking for an answer. So typically in the world, you are going to be given, and there's nothing wrong with this at all, lots of answers that are on the outside. The perfect relationship, the perfect job, the perfect face, the perfect life, the way you think it should be, whatever it happens to be, right? Or you go inside. So this is basically it, because if you already are coming to anything, I mean, speaking of, we just had the little joke about Insight Timer. I hope you have Insight Timer. Is that Insight Timer is something outside of you. Now, there's nothing wrong with Insight Timer. Nothing right about Insight Timer. But it's something that you're like, oh, Insight Timer is going to help me. Da, 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 da. Now, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Remember, we're only here to look at, wait a second, remember the title. The title is, going in is just another way of going out. Meaning that the egoic mind, the separated self, will continually tell you that your salvation, your peace, is anywhere other than right here. And there isn't even a right here, because there isn't a right there. Because there is no past, and there is no future, and there is no time. That is a construct. There is no you. So when we go in to try to find peace, speaking from in the dream state, it's a much better thing to do on some level. It's much better to go in than continue to look out all the time, right? That's for sure. There's nothing wrong with that. And also to consider what I'm presenting to you today is that it's still an impulse to be or get or attain something other than this. On Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about a section in A Course in Miracles. And I was thinking to myself, and the Course in Miracles uses a lot of Christic or Christian terminology, right? And so they use the term Holy Spirit a lot. Now, the Holy Spirit in the Course in Miracles basically is the bridge between your perception and truth. So there's truth happening, and then you have a perception, right? The Holy Spirit in the Course in Miracles, and from the Course in Miracles, it is the bridge between your perception and truth, right? So that's why in the Course in Miracles, you're asked to ask Holy Spirit for a perception that would be different, right? Now, as I was reading something about the Holy Spirit this morning, and we're going to be talking about some of this on Wednesday, but I always tell my students, for my money, Holy Spirit is just another vibrational field that you aren't seeing yet. That's already here. It's not like you have to go try to get there. It's happening. It's happening. This is it. This is it. But your perception, your perceptual self is over here, operating over here, trying to get over here, right? Individual, oneness, truth, duality, non-duality, if you want to use that, whatever. So sometimes you need a training wheel called called the Holy Spirit, right? So it's here. So you get on here, and then you're closer to there. Follow me? Now, what I said earlier is that I always say, it doesn't matter. You don't have to believe me. You definitely don't have to believe me. You might want to consider that the Holy Spirit is a vibrational field, because you aren't even a you. You're completely connected to all that is this, 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 this. And as you're connected to this, one of the options in this is that you're already whole. And there's nowhere to go. And there's nowhere to be. This is it. Take a deep breath. Blossom says yes. Laura says nowhere to go, nothing to do. Laura says yes. Jennifer says, so we're trying to attain what we already are. Yeah, you can look at it that way. I'm sorry if you're hearing New York City in the background. Hi, Max. Wow. Need to remember that. Hi, Laura. Hi, Lauren. I've begun thinking that all. You love the New York City sound. So do I. This is it. In A Course in Miracles, since we're talking about A Course in Miracles, Course in Miracles says the thinking of God is 180 degrees away from the thinking of man, right? And he also says salvation is not difficult. It's just incredible. It's totally different. I paraphrase that a little bit, but it's totally different. It's not a thinking at all. It's not a thinking. Your best thinking got you here. That's what they say in AA and all that stuff, right? That was wonderful. One says, of the spiritual actualization stuff is not even worth it because it's all stuff that I'm trying to learn and do, always trying to get somewhere. Ding, ding. Hold on. I need my button. I need my button.
Yes.
Yes. To me, I see the sky and accept that it is there without needing to question it. I feel that way about a higher power. Sure. And I'm gonna also say in this conversation, Catherine, I love that. Maybe there is no higher power. Hi, Violet 108. Maybe there's no higher power. That's controversial. No pink cloud, mountaintop, nothing. No, I get it, Lauren. That's why I said.
Well, yes.
What if you want to change something? Then change something. Then change something. Sure. Why not? So changing something can appear to happen in this. In this. That's called creating. Changing something can be very normal. Wanting to control something is a very different thing. Because when you say wanting to change something, you could mean that your separated self wants to control something in order to get something. That's a very different thing than going, I'd like to paint it red instead of yellow. That's changing something. And you have Eckhart Tolle. So, remember, when you go in, it's just another way of trying to get somewhere other than this. Because this is it. Because this is it. And there's nothing wrong with going inside. There's nothing wrong with going outside. You've just decided that, or someone has told you going outside, bad, 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 bad. Don't go outside, bad. Really? Going inside is good. Inside good, outside bad. Talk about duality. Talk about keeping you in the knot and the wheel of suffering. I'm going to come back to one of the greatest quotes of all time by William Shakespeare. Nothing is either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And sometimes you're not doing your thinking. Sometimes you're allowing other people to think for you by saying, you shouldn't do that. That's a bad thing. Good spiritual people do this, and bad spiritual people do this. Really?